Welcome to BitBoy Crypto. The best way is if you became a millionaire, would you keep working? I want to tell you guys something. What's going on right now is California's trying to figure out about crypto. My name is Ben. We're talking balls.
Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, home of the BitSquad, the largest and greatest crypto community in all of the interwebs. My name is DZ. You could catch us here Monday through Friday, 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes 11:32, sometimes 11:31. I like how people say DZ's always late. I think I'm better being on time versus Ben. That's my experience. Or go ahead.
I was going to say I'll take the hit because usually we are here, but then you have to push the buttons. There's a little delay, you know.
No, you got to pass the buck down the line. Blame graphic
Nick's
department.
fault.
You know, it's the
Nick's
thumbnails.
fault.
We're still waiting on that thumbnail. Story time. Those who follow my Instagram, you maybe saw a little preview of it. If you're not following, you know, maybe we'll just go follow DZ_BTC. I got rear-ended yesterday leaving work. I was maybe 10 minutes down the road at a complete stop. I had been stopped for 5-10 seconds at this point. It wasn't like, you know, I slammed on the brakes because a rabbit was crossing the road or, you know, there's a duckling family. No, this is an intersection. Pretty much stopped at this point. It's, you know, a long tail of cars here, one lane. I'm stopped. Car behind me stopped. I'm just hanging out, listening to a little podcast, and all of a sudden I hear screeching brakes, very, very loud screeching brakes. I immediately look in my rearview mirror, and I see a black Lexus, a two-door coupe, just slamming on the brakes. Must have been probably going about 50 miles per hour. This is about the speed limit for the road we're on. And it's somewhat near a curve. So they must have just rounded that curve, must have been on their phone, slamming on the brakes. I check the mirror. I see the whole thing go down. This black Lexus is slamming on the brakes, smashes right into a black BMW. BMW, very, very loud. You could hear it. You could feel the bass. All of a sudden, I take a quick glance down to see how far the car in front of me is. I'm like, it's too close. I'm not going to be able to move forward. I just pressed down on my brakes a little bit harder. I was like, I hope I don't hit the next car. I hope they don't hit me. I'm watching the mirror. I remember thinking, please don't hit me. Please don't hit me. Please don't hit me. They kind of veer to the right. You see them pop up on a curb as they're being jostled forward, essentially, at this point, and bam, smashed right into my car. We had to call the cops. It was a little 3-car fender bender, but the Lexus totaled, not going to hit the road again. The other car, I don't think it was road ready. They had to get a tow truck for those two. My car, still able to drive. I drove away from the scene right then and there. A little reverse hit and run. I was the victim. No, I hung out, waited for the cops, did everything. Then they're like, well, you don't have insurance. It's like, that's not accurate. So, you know, I find my policy. I'd actually had to email them at the DMV like 2 months prior, same issue. And then I saw my payment. I'm like, no, I definitely have insurance. He's like, let me see your card again. And he checks my phone. He's like, well, it says you have it here, but on my records, it says you don't. So I'm not going to give you a ticket, but I am going to give you a warning ticket for my license plate. So I got to take tomorrow off. I'm going to go to the DMV. I got to get my car legal. What's weird is I had actually planned all of this ahead of time with TJ. TJ can attest. I said, hey, man, I got to get my car legal. You know, I also got to get my passport for the crypto cruise of a century. Hey. Yeah, the Pluto Alliance cruise of that's going to end all cruises. So, you know, I got a couple things I got to handle. Get a ticket the day before. Or the 2 days before. I'm gonna go get everything legal. But yeah, no, it wasn't. I don't drive a Prius. I didn't want to dox my car, you know, because it's the damage is right near my license plate. I'm like, I'm not gonna do all that. I drive a Chrysler 300, older one. It's, you know, about 8 years old. It's nothing crazy. But nice, yeah, so that's how I ended my day. I just wanted to share that story with you guys. Yeah. Any questions?
You took the time to make a Instagram story while you were there as well. So yeah, I saw it firsthand. You know.
Yeah. Fun, just quick story. You gotta follow the Instagram. But yeah, the horn of the Lexus just went off nonstop after 10 minutes. So rear crash, cops have been called. We're just hanging out side of the road. Cars are driving by. They're yelling at us like, "Hey, yeah!" I don't think anyone's moving. You see this Lexus that's total. They're like literally honking at us and stuff. And yeah, so we're waiting, but yeah, the car just incessantly, very anxiety-inducing, rage-inducing even. I actually pushed them in front of traffic.
Speaking of rage-inducing, you want to look at these markets?
Let's get right into it. You know, we're going to skip NFT Alpha, skip all this. On the Twitter, though, tickets booked for CNFT Con. If you're not checking that out, follow my Twitter. It's going to be a blast. JPEG Junkies, make sure you're following there. Oh, one quick thing. Speaking of crypto markets, catching up to crypto.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Raul Paul, good job. Hey, man, thank you for the blurb there. #1 new release in finance. So good job, Ben. Thank you, BitSquad. You can check out that on the website. You can check where good books are sold. You can check it. But let's get to the crypto market. Enough of the bull crap. We are in the red, baby. This is not looking great. We have Bitcoin way down, Ethereum way down. If we look at the market cap, still above $1 trillion, barely, but we are above $1 trillion, kind of really close to yesterday's level, surprisingly. Bitcoin dominance up slightly. Now we're above 40%, 40.2%. ETH, that 0.2%, just give it to ETH so ETH can be 20. We have a nice 40% to 20%, but they've been hanging around this level for a long time. ETH really close to that 20% level, though. Gas down to 9, pretty cheap. People are just hanging out on the sidelines, scared to make a move. They're shaking like a chicken in Drew's coop here. We have Bitcoin down almost 6%, 20,000, right below 21,000 at 29.74. Ethereum below 1,600, tumbled 7.6% on the 24-hour chart so far. Not looking great. We have BNB down 4.3%. We keep scrolling down. Hold on, let me shrink this. Maybe later, maybe never. Cardano down, 8.45%. I didn't tell you guys to open a short, but I did say, you know what, TJ? I'm opening a short. TJ said what? I said Cardano. Why? I kind of know the levels. I kind of see where things are heading. You saw it dump heavy in relation to Bitcoin. So this is just kind of those charts I was looking at. Not financial advice, but you know, I closed my short. I took the profit. I ran. But if anyone copy traded me, congrats. We made a little. We made extra Cardano there.
Smash the likes for making money on the shorts. Even though it's not the best way to do it, but hey, you can make money going up, make money going down.
If you're not a big fan of the coins going down, but you are a fan of money, hit that like button. Hit that like button right now. It doesn't cost you anything. Like Frankie says, we can make money either direction. Heck, even when it's sideways, we'll get those little scalps. 5x leverage, if you're wondering. Nothing crazy. All right, Solana down 7.3%, still up on the week. XRP still up on the week. Doge, Polygon, then Shiba only down 1%. Surprisingly holding up well here. Let's look at some of the top gainers and losers. Ravencoin still pumping 18% on the day. Again, I did say, guys, this is something I'm looking into mining. I hope some of you guys listen as well. TJ was talking about H-bar. It's like some of you listen here, 8.3% up. So H-bar looking good. Tom Crown is dancing a jig somewhere. We have Litecoin up even on this bloody day. ApeCoin. What did I tell that guy yesterday? You know what? I like your portfolio, but I would add ApeCoin. I hope he made that change. He's up on the 24-hour. I'm still bullish long-term on that. Terra Luna. It's like everything we told these people to do yesterday is coming to fruition. It's almost like you make money watching this channel.
I was going to say, it's almost like we know a little bit about crypto.
A little.
Like we've done
a little.
Once or twice.
Not much. I mean, I'm just some guy in a Nike sweatshirt, in a ball cap.
Where's that
JPEG
junkie sweatshirt?
Yeah, hey, that's I'm rocking it again soon. I'm gonna be wearing it on my off day at the DMV. I'm gonna force those people to listen to me about Cardano. All right, Terra Luna Classic down. Mine that near protocol. Woo! It might be time to get cheap near. I kind of want to just click on this just for one quick second, and then we're gonna go to our crypto expert here. But yeah, this is looking like a buy. I mean, it's not as attractive as these levels, but that's an attractive level when you look at this chart. Highs near $20, and I'm expecting next bull run. 40 is on the table, 100's on the table. I'm not saying it's going to 100, but I'm definitely saying it is on the table. And if it does go to 100, that's a 20x. So I'm going to be looking to accumulate some of that. But let's talk to someone who knows even more than me. One of my favorite people in the game here, and it is one of the most positive people in the game. And I call him the Titan of transitions. It is Crypto Lifer here. How are we doing, man?
First of all, I want to say thank you so much for having me on. Second of all, I want to say I hope you're all right. It's crazy that you got rear-ended like that. Yeah, seems like you're falling through ceilings. You get rear-ended, like you recover and you get hit again, but you keep getting up every single time.
You know what? It's how you bounce back. That's the true story. It's not what happens. It's what you do afterwards. But let's see one of those cool transitions, man. I know you got it squared away. Let's see it. I'm ready. Oh, there it goes. Look at that, baby.
Bam, bam, bam. So got a new computer too, which I like to show off. I love the thing. It's amazing. So check it out. Bitcoin, right? I actually, while you were talking, I threw up the ADA chart. You did great. You know what you did, DZ, is you shorted a bearish divergence on the 4-hour. Swing up to swing up, swing down on the RSI, and you didn't get above a previous resistance too. So you shorted resistance with bearish divergence at a high volume node, and you took it to the next node on the bottom. You did perfect, and you sold at the next low volume node. I mean, that's exactly what you were supposed to do.
Off the table, baby. Hey,
DZ lifer,
never
baby.
go break.
DZ
never go broke. Take
lifer, man. Never go broke.
Combined. I mean, dude, could you just imagine? I mean, imagine if we were able to leverage trade NFTs. Oh my God, the sky's the limit.
Easy life.
Hey, one step at a time. So look, Bitcoin. Last night I was talking to my group. Right, I always do an update, and I was showing this idea: bearish divergence. You know, sometimes it's like the obvious things just seem to play out. Another thing, bounce, bounce, bounce. That's previous support. Previous support becomes new resistance. Also, the VRVP or VPVR, whatever you want to call it, people go back and forth. It's really the VRVP, I guess, the visual range volume profile. But that showed you that you couldn't get above this range. See, when you see big fat nodes and you can't get above them, you just go right back to the next node. I was talking to this the other day. I was like, it's like when you're a kid and you're doing you're going house to house, right? You're trick or treating. You want to go to the house with the most candy. You know, we always had a big house with the most candy. You skip the houses with no candy. Cool, funny concept for beginners to understand the VRVP. The liquidity is going to go find the house with the most candy bars. It's not going to hang out at these people who are only giving Hershey kisses. So it's skipping these areas because it wants to come and get filled. So it's very likely you bounce. So that's why when I break down where we are now, I see the support zone. Chance we could hold there. Little more unlikely, and the reason is because we just don't have the liquidity to hold us up. It's more likely we come down here to 19,800 based on how the VRVP, and you can go back in time and test this. Look, why did this such a sharp one candle down? Like everywhere else, we had we walked in or walked out, right? We stepped up, stepped down. We went down so fast. Why? Look at the gap on the VRVP. So this is such a great way to trade. Like this is a perfect way to figure out kind of, you see you get rejected by a high volume node, ride to the next one. Right now, we didn't get bounced. We could have bounced here when we didn't bounce here. And then you're like, well, what do I do now? It should have bounced. Well, that's when you flip to the 7. And you want to look at the 7. And right now the 7's in this flag, a bearish flag, technically. There is some bullish divergence there. But in my opinion, that high volume node wants to pull us down 19,800. I think it's most likely we head down there. Sad to say. The CPI data was horrible, right? Came out. We said July, 11.4% for food prices. Horrible, right? That was a largest 12-month increase since 1979. DZ, do you think he's going to go to 1 basis point? Do you think he's going to go to 1 basis point?
Last checked, I think it was 13%. Maybe it was even your tweet. I think the markets are pricing in about 13% of people expect 1 basis or 100 basis points, 1 point there. I'm just going with the lemmings here because they seem to be on point. It's almost like people have inside knowledge when it comes to these basis point rate hikes, but the market is still saying 75. When I see it get close to 50-50, that's when I'll swap. But the market has just not been losing on the guesses here. Inside information, I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
It's like they got so much money and they're going to make the moves. I was losing sleep thinking about you last night. I wanted to give you some bullish, something bullish, some hopium, right? A little bit. Now, one thing I've been showing that I haven't seen any other YouTuber talk about, everyone loves the 200 simple, right? We always talk about how Bitcoin broke the 200 simple on the weekly, and that's our bottom throughout years and years and years and years, right? Well, what about total, the entire market cap? No one discussed that we never broke 200 simple on total. We actually made a double bottom here. Now, I'm not saying it's amazing, and what I don't like is the weekly stochastic. It's trying to rebound here, but I've traded stochastics my whole life. I don't say my whole life, but for 15 years, a long time now. And when this comes up, the thing about it is it's like they do have a ratio of space, meaning when you're this high in the Stokes, like how much more can you get? Now I've seen big moves happen, but in majority of time, you're already closer to the edge. You know what I mean? You're already closer. However, I wanted to talk about one anomaly. I've seen anomalies in the stochastics RSI, and this is where people get tripped up. The whole market trades the same way, right? We short stochastics and everyone kind of has a general idea. But then there's these 3 instances in time that happen one every 2 years or something, and they're just insane. So I study the charts for these areas and I try to find them and see and keep them in the back of my mind. So I trade traditionally, but I always keep it in the back of my mind. Look at this strange anomaly here. I find this really weird and interesting to share with everybody. The stochastics was high here, came back up. And you would be like, dude, we're dumping, right? Me and you would be like, dude, high weekly, let's get out of the chart. But look what happened. It started a parabolic run for Bitcoin. And as the stochastics went down, Bitcoin was actually pumping to the upside. I've seen this only when we break out of extreme bearish tones when everyone says we're going lower. So I just want to heed people. I'm not the guy saying we're going to 100K. And I'm not the guy saying we're going to 10K. I am the guy waiting with a good amount of capital for 10K because I believe there's a good chance we go there. I'm open-minded for it. Look at the charts. I mean, our next resistance is 13,000. If we break that wick that we capitulated on. So I'm open-minded. I don't have an answer for everybody, like exactly what I'm doing. I do try to tell people what I do. I accumulate on these nasty red days. I bought a little Bitcoin today. I'll buy a little Bitcoin if we go lower to 19.5. There is a chance that 17K was the bottom. If you don't act like that, you will miss it. So, but at the same time, there's a chance we go to 10K. You know,
I'm glad you brought up the total market cap. I too agree. I think it is underutilized. It's undervalued. Yeah. Most money floating around in the crypto market, it isn't new money that's injected. It's Bitcoin profits. It's stable coin being swapped around, you know. So that is a more real indication of where the market is heading, in my opinion. But yeah, because, you know, you can have a market buy where it's just new money comes in and then TA is out the window. You know, you don't really know. But when you see the entire crypto market cap is just, it's like a larger time frame. It's the equivalent of a larger time frame, but for a chart instead. So good stuff there.
Can I show Bookmap? Is that okay if I show Bookmap? Yeah. Is that cool? I just want to ask. I love Bookmap. They sponsor me, so this is cool. This shows me where liquidity is going. This also kind of corroborates my idea that we're going to go lower than that zone to 25 and then possibly even further down. So this shows you where the liquidity is. Now, I trade traditional instruments, stochastic, but every once in a while, they'll be pinned and they'll tell you to short. You flip on Bookmap and you'll see that you're likely going to continue and to get a pin. I don't know how many times I've been on my channel, and I find the sensitive timeframes give us the insight. So I'll be like, for 3 or 4 years, all I knew was how to short high 4 hour and 1 hour. Now, the last 2 years, as I live stream and I start playing with liquidity, I get way more insight. So what I do is I flip to the 7-minute, and you'll be surprised. Sometimes the 7-minute will coincide. It will coincide with the liquidity that you see here. So look, that 7-minute showing me that flag to the downside, and I see this glob of liquidity down here. Just very interesting that we highly likely will head down to this lower area. Also, the VRVP,
what is that price point? What's that price point of that bottom line?
Yeah, 19,691. You know, and also the 800s have been substantial, right? We hit 21.8, 22.8, 28. So 19,802 is an area that I'm kind of honing in on, and you can see it's right here. We break 20K, and it's like we got this area right there. If I have a little 20K and this chop here, so we got a 20K chop, and then so there's a chance we bounce somewhere because we have all this support and resistance in this choppy area, and we have a huge VRVP, so it's likely we hit that. And in my opinion, anything could change. And then we could bounce back. Hold on, let me bring this back. VRV changes when you move around, which kind of confuses beginners. So we bounce here, and it's likely probably head back up to here. So I would remain short if Bitcoin can't close a candle above 21,000. If you don't get a daily or a 4-hour candle above 21K at the end of the day, it's likely you could short the market back down to 19,005. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but this is just what I'm looking at.
And a good opportunity for if you really have strong beliefs in your conviction, trade those last minutes of those candles, last minutes of the daily candle, last minutes of the weekly candle, last minutes of the monthly candle. But that is for experts. That's where you're swimming with the sharks. Be very, very careful.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you this, Lifer, real quick before we wrap up. I know there's kind of mixed opinions on trading things like earnings, CPI, etc. Is that something you look to trade when days like today, we've got CPI data coming out, you go long or short depending on what you think, or do you just kind of stay off the books, close positions until things roll out?
You just sparked a great metaphor for me. I always equate trading to surfing. You know what I mean? And you watch the waves all the time. You get to know where a better wave is, right? When CPI data comes out, you don't really know exactly what could come at you. Now, there was bearish divergence last night. So if you just didn't listen to the news at all, you would have shorted the market. So it's kind of interesting how the charts did show you the news. Yet again, I keep saying this, but people it takes years to really, really believe in that. But I don't tend to do that. Today, I did say to my group, I said, you know what? Next time, I'm opening up a long and a short, and I'm just closing the one that doesn't play out because that would have been a great play today. I don't like to take advantage of these moves. To me, it's too high risk. To me, you don't know what could happen up or down, and there's a high chance of you just getting caught up in the flow. Also, high emotions tend to throw you off. I like to step aside and be patient during these times. Like right now, I get to wait and watch 19.5 become support and open up a long. I don't have to chase the short. I have to wait for support to come to me. So I don't like to make any crazy moves based on CPI data. You can take advantage of the market at the moment. Like there could be a short or something going on, and with some data, a book map, I've done that. Like I've scalped the last piece of it once I felt like the momentum is continuing. But I tend not to do that. When I was young, I was heavy risk. I did everything. Now I step back. I watch the market lightly. I trade less, and I stay way more patient than I ever was.
Yeah, you just said it right there at the end. I feel like, because I ask this question a lot because I'm just curious, like I'm not a heavy trader. There's no wrong answer necessarily. Like you said, if you're watching the charts and you feel like you've got good conviction going into it, sure. But the more I talk to more experienced traders, generally speaking, they say exactly what you just said there, where there's too many variables, it's too unknown, and they like to, take action when they know and they feel really strong about a trade versus, it's 50-50 on these expectations versus reality and who sets the expectation.
It takes away my edge. You know what I'm saying? The CPI data takes. One last thing I want to show you is I love these days because I flip to the 24-hour and the 1 hour, and look, just like you guys said, great job. Terra Luna, Terra Classic, Raven. Why was Raven hot? My group was awesome. We started researching the miners. When ETH goes to proof of stake, these guys have thousands of dollars worth of equipment.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? So they research and they're like, we knew their miners were going to move to Raven 10 days ago. I started talking about it. I'm pretty sure I tweeted about it. We started trading Raven. We already made 80% on it. I tell everyone it is TA, but there are ecosystem moves. Like when you know the miner is going to move to Raven, you start buying some Raven coin. Raven coin was the first coin I ever mined. I got half through it on my laptop and then gave up. But
I've been in that mining ecosystem, and Raven has just got a strong community. It's a lot of GitHub submissions, a lot of YouTube
they love Patrick
videos.
Byrne, man. They love that.
Sure do.
Like, he's like a cult following.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting. I was going to say the main thing is the more experienced traders I talk to, and TJ kind of just summed this up as well, is do you trade TA? Do you trade news? And then more and more you hear, well, TA kind of predicts the news. And the longer you're in it, the more you see it. It's kind of like a spider line. I didn't believe in it at first, but then you just see it happen again and again. And I'm not saying a 55-45% winning rate. It's just, it's pretty good win rate. And you're like, okay, maybe I should start putting a little stock into this. But all right.
We were here with Ben that day, and we were saying how they probably put an analyst out before they put out news. And Ben was like, oh, for sure. And like we all agreed with that.
All the Elon Doge tweets kind of coincide. It's just example after example after example. But all right, Lifer, great stuff. It's always educational, and always like feeling a little bit more positive, man. It's always a good time when you're here, man. Appreciate it.
DZ, every time I hang out with you, I feel great too, man. Have a great night. Have a great day. Thank you for the BitSquad. Shout out to my lifers. Shout out to everyone out here. And keep stacking your sats, everybody. 4 years from now, we're going to be in a completely different ecosystem. So
that's right.
Stay focused. Don't let your emotions take you out of the game.
Real quick before you go, tell everybody where to find you.
Oh, you can find me at Crypto Lifer on my YouTube channel. You can find me on Twitter at Crypto Lifer. I'm on TikTok, Instagram. I need to get my Instagram out. We just rebuilt a new one, The Real Crypto Lifer. So if you head on over there, I would greatly appreciate it. Perfect. I go live every single day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. I've done 600 live shows without one day off. I'm about to hit my 600th day straight. So trying to hit a Guinness Book of World Records or something.
All right. Hey, Crypto Lifer, the T1000 of TA. Love it, man. It's always a great time. I'll see you around the blockchain.
Peace.
All right. Yeah, great guy, man. I love that guy.
Good analysis. Good and good advice there. I mean, a lot to learn. I mean, that's kind of what I was getting at. Frank doesn't generally trade earnings or CPIs or anything like that either. Not saying it's wrong if you do. Like if I was looking, I probably would have gone short based on that. Again, I don't do a lot of trading, but the more I talk to people that trade day in and day out, kind of like to what he said, you want to ride on those days where you've got that advantage because you're looking at it, you're doing your research, and you've got a setup that you're used to, that you've seen confirmed multiple times. You're not just like rolling the dice that the report's going to come out and make big money for you.
Yeah,
so.
I love all the talk about volume. I need to get more into the volume stuff, up my TA skills.
I agree. Yeah, that's something that was nice that Frank brought up recently. Watching those, where the big volume buys are. Obviously, that's where people are looking to get in and get out, and it makes a lot of sense.
I know how we can create big volume buys right now.
What's that?
By everyone hitting the like button. If everyone hits the like button, this is going to spread. It's going to let YouTube algorithm know everyone loves Bitcoin.
That's right.
It's on sale right now. Maybe those whales will turn this background green. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's speaking of Bitcoin and Ethereum dropped 5% in an hour, more than that. I think closer to 7 for ETH amid hot US inflation figures. They both slumped after the US Bureau of Labor Statistics released its recent CPI data, shed several points. And Bitcoin, the largest crypto by market cap, is now trading hands at around 2140, even now probably around closer to 20,900 after falling over 5% in the last hour. It remains up around 8% over the last week. Ethereum down over 6%. Each month, the CPI measures the cost of various goods and services, such as milk, used cars, gas, electricity, and such. Economists use these figures as a proxy for identifying inflation. Of late, the numbers have revealed some of the highest inflation in the U.S. in the past 40 years. Most recent August numbers were no exception either here, and the markets did not like it. To be fair, I do want to say this about my short. I closed out more than half last night. So I closed out more than half. I was like, you know what? I knew the CPI thing was going to be quite volatile. And someone said, I don't recommend you trade the last minutes of a daily or a weekly. It's I said for experts only. All right. Plan B. Remember that guy? Yeah, the bee's knees. All of a sudden, and then I remember when that thing came true in October.
Yeah.
And then the first week of November was pumping. And I don't remember what the November number was. Maybe someone could share it. But I remember I was like, oh my gosh, this guy was right. He's right. This entire thing's right.
I mean,
100K.
Yeah.
And then just started dumping after 69K.
Stock to flow model that Plan B created, which is what he's most famous for at this point, was the most accurate model for predicting the price of Bitcoin for, 10 years maybe, or 8 years. Basically, the entire until it wasn't, which unfortunately
it was the best thing until it wasn't.
It wasn't that long ago. But let's see what he's up to these days.
He gave up crypto and he's fishing on a lake somewhere. Oh wait, no, he's still in it. Plan B, the popular cryptocurrency analyst and creator of the stock to flow model applied to Bitcoin, believes that stock to flow is still valid despite the current bear market. At the same time, he wrote on Twitter that he expects to bounce back above the stock to flow model value before the 2024 halving event. And we covered yesterday, potentially even late 23. So the early 24 halving event here. In the most recent stock to flow model, Plan B shows that Bitcoin is currently touching the lowest boundary of its price range. This could be related to the Bitcoin's price action in recent months. Could be. I would say maybe it is. People ask if it's still valid. I think it is. We can go technical on autocorrelation and coin integration, but key, in my opinion, that Bitcoin price is not more or less off than speaking of its risk asset. Is it a more risk on or more risk less off than in 2011, 13, 17? In my opinion, the model is valid, and I expect a bounce above stock to flow model value before the 24 halving. So you can see here, this is where he says he expects it to go above this blue line here, this blue band. Barely went above on this level. This is 2018, and then barely touched the light blue. There's a real faint blue that is kind of hard to see. It creeped into that territory. And he was saying, we were just kind of floating around the very bottom of this, about as low as it got.
Yeah,
so
realistically,
not looking great.
If you're looking at that graph, it should really be within the blue band. On the downside. You see on the downside, each time it comes within that blue band and pumps up above it. So right now, we're way off base where it should be. It should be riding along the bottom part of that blue band. And then popping up again after the next halving, which obviously the halving events are right there. Are those
you can
points.
see this is where it's all of a sudden. And for those, the few of you who might not know what halving means, on this day, Bitcoin rewards get cut in half. So every person that would receive a Bitcoin for having a whole bunch of mining equipment, they would then receive half of a Bitcoin, and this happens every 4 years. So this is what increases the supply demand economics and makes Bitcoin's price.
See, I like that graph, but to me, the longer we're outside of where it should be, the less valid it becomes. And he can keep saying it'll snap back and get back in range, but to me, if it doesn't do it quick, it's pretty much, I mean, I don't know how valid this will become as an indicator.
And like they say in TA, the more it tests this bottom, the weaker that becomes, the
Right.
weaker that support becomes. All right, as you can see in the tweet above, it is almost out of range. Let's not forget it's been moving lower since November when it reached an all-time high of 69K. At that time, crypto community believed that Bitcoin was heading towards 70, even 100. Nevertheless, a new bear market started, pushing it below 18 for a brief period of time. Yeah, it is confirmed. It is definitely not exactly what everyone was hoping for. That's why people were still semi-bullish in December. It was like people hadn't quite given up on the model. And even if, there's a lot of people said, oh, 100K, well, that's ridiculous. It's definitely going to 80, though. It's definitely going to 75. It's definitely no, it's going to get rejected at 97. They had all these kind of hardcore predictions that they're like, guys, I know. Okay, trust me, I know. A lot of people thought 320. Even on this channel, I know we cover the videos. I was a huge BitSquad fan back then, watching every video. And Ben was saying, here's some models. People are saying 320. I know he never, even at his hopium most, I think it was the real target. We were saying it was more realistically 140.
Yeah, I mean, we had adjusted at one point throughout the cycle. People were calling for 300 because the timeline, we were so far ahead. We were pushing, I think 50s very early on, and there was still a lot of time to go. Then we had a reset. Yeah, and we were looking, 100. At one point, we had 140 as a target, 150, then backed it down to 100. Because for us, it's time away from the halving or time to the halving that is the biggest indicator for bear market, bull market, less than the price, if that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Stock market futures tumble after hot August inflation report here. Powell in the background. Here he is watching a puppy fall through the ice. All right. We scroll down here. U.S. stock index futures fell sharply on Tuesday after data showed a faster than expected rise in August consumer prices, cementing bets for a third straight 75 basis point rate hike from the Fed Reserve next week. Money markets, I said 20, I think I said 31 or 28%. I was a little bit off. Money markets now see a 79% chance for 75 basis points and a 21% chance for 100 and 0 for 50. So no one's thinking 50 anymore. The dollar, which has risen sharply this year in part due to expectations of an aggressive rate hikes by the Fed, erased losses to turn positive here. All right, so yeah, the markets are betting 75 basis points are a certainty, but it could be 100. We'll see. All right, a rail strike could result in a damaging economic shock. What will old Biden do here? There could be a major blow to the U.S. economy coming down the rail. Freight railroads are preparing for possible strikes, as a years-long labor dispute sits at an impasse ahead of a key Friday night deadline. We do not need a Mexican standoff between rail workers and big corporations, like just trying to move your Walmart goods from one side of the country to another, because this is what this is affecting. This is affecting your groceries. This is affecting consumer goods. This is a lot of down. You think trains? No one's on trains anymore. What is this, 1917? No, this is going to have a lot of effects on the grocery stores.
Yeah.
So a little scary here. In the middle sits Biden administration. Labor Secretary Marty Walsh is rearranging his schedule to tend to the talks, and Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is warning that failure would mean a damaging supply shock to the economy.
See, I mean, call me a conspiracy theorist, I guess. Maybe put my tinfoil hat on, but this feels like a big setup to
the
me.
Food stuff?
Yeah, I mean,
the factories.
All this stuff
kind of relates, man.
Yeah, that they're going to be having this is incredibly convenient timing to be having a railroad strike and having people having a hard time transporting stuff. And if Yellen's already yelling about it, it's going to be a thing very soon. And that's going to be the reason. The only reason we don't have food on the shelves is because the railroad strike. It's not because of any of these food crisis issues or like global macroeconomic trade issues. It's just because these one group of railroad workers somewhere have decided that they need to go on strike, which again, who's facilitating the strike? Probably a union. Who's behind the union? I could just.
Oh yeah. It's definitely it's other countries' disinformation programs. Like, who would love a strike? Our enemies. Stanford Mine. I drive for UPS, and we are considering a strike.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not conspiratorial either, but yeah, you see like food processing plant after food processing plant have fires.
Yeah.
Never. All right. I used to live near a lot of pork processing, not like so close where it stank, but I lived in Wilmington. But surrounding counties. I never heard of Fire's chicken,
No.
factory. None of that. Smithfields. I live real close to Smithfields Farms. Never heard of any of that happening in the 20 years that I lived in the farming area. And then before that, I lived in Texas, and I never heard about cattle farms
Nope.
just going up in smoke here.
Mhm.
But not conspiratorial, but that whole thing just looks very suspicious.
Smells funny.
This, I think, is just like what you said. I think it's just our foreign enemies would, of course, fund strikes and stuff. A recent report from the Association of American Railroads found that a stoppage could cost the U.S. economy $2 billion per day and result in a widespread chain supply snarls, potentially shutting down 30% of the country's freight capacity and also halt most passenger and commuter rail services. $2 billion a day. That could be like corn going bad on the train. $2 billion a day. That's roughly. So let's just for math to be simple, 333 million Americans. That is going to be $6 per American a day. So $42 a week. So now this is obviously back in napkin math, not real math, but that could, $42 a week to your grocery bill. I don't know. I live in Kansas. The cow situation was super sketch, not normal. Super sketch. I agree. 2 holdout unions say that the key remaining issue are policies that they say penalize engineers and conductors for getting sick. They want stronger protections from what the Biden administration has proposed, saying, sadly, the Presidential Emergency Board recommendation got it wrong on this issue. Key option would be legislation from Capitol Hill that could prohibit a strike or require the two sides to submit to another emergency board in effect of delaying a strike. Lawmakers could also simply force all parties to accept a board's recommendations.
That sounds fun.
Groups representing interests like agriculture and trucking are already urging Congress to intervene, many of whom are just returning after the summer recess. Yeah, not great. The whole thing is very bad. I want this to get solved. Obviously, I'm not like anti-unions. I'm pro-workers. But there's definitely a lot of nefarious dark forces at work here that do make things like this more complicated than it needs to be, where it's not just business leaders, talking to, labor union, and everybody just wants everyone to be happy. It's people going in with knives drawn and like it's war, and it shouldn't be that.
No, well, it's like it's result of centralization, right? When you centralize power, when you centralize money, you're going to get corruption, and you're going to get people incentivized to work for their own gains. So you've got things going within the government, things going within the unions. You get backdoor handshake deals, and it results in usually more pain on the general consumer and on the market. And
I grew up being so pro-union. I was such a Michael Moore fan. Read all his books, watched all the documentaries. He used to really fight for the workers, in his early career. And then I just saw, I'm still pro-union. I'm still pro-worker. My grandpa was a longshoreman for 50 years or something like that. I'm definitely pro-union. But then I just saw some unions, and I'm not going to name names, but, I'll go and say like a teachers union here or there. They use their power for evil, and they use their power to protect themselves, insulate themselves, and insulate their jobs, where you can't fire bad people. And then that's where I go anti-union, where you start protecting bad people. Law enforcement. I'll go ahead and say, I wasn't going to say it. I'll say that too. Where protect the blue. You got to root out the bad apples. And when you protect your bad apples, that's where you're an enemy of the people. If you got some crappy teacher where all the students are failing and they've been teaching 50 years and they maybe should have retired 10 years ago, but they can't fire them because of the union, that's bad. But I get where there is a line. You don't want to go too far one direction, but we have gone too far in one direction. That's my 2 cents. All right, let's talk a little JP Morgan. JP Morgan team says soft landing is more likely than a recession here. I see that as a reverse indicator. That's like, that's a Jim Cramer quote there. All right, a soft landing is becoming the more likely scenario for global economy, which will continue to provide tailwinds for risky assets, according to strategists at JP Morgan, who have been stalwart equity bulls for much of the year. We maintain that inflation will resolve on its own as distortions fade, and that the Fed has overreacted with the 75 basis points hike. The team wrote, we will likely see a Fed pivot, which is positive for cyclical assets. Existing data suggests a soft landing is where the global economy is headed. This is from a chief investment officer.
What's the date on this? Did they write this?
Yeah, this must have been
yesterday?
pre-CPI. We're looking here the 13th at midnight. So this was at midnight. So technically today.
Yeah, right before the
but
numbers came out.
yeah, I wonder if the author changed the tune after a CPI report.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not buying it. I mean, it doesn't feel like a soft landing right now. It feels like we've got more rate hikes coming, which will mean more pain. I can't remember who tweeted this. It might have been a Cowan tweet, but basically somebody saying, they have to do more rate hikes, which means recession is pretty much automatic if we're not already in it, a lot of people would say. And once we're confirmed in a recession, it's going to be extremely hard for them to pull us out of this spiral downward, because it's going to get bad quick if they keep hiking these rates. And that's when things get really wild.
Yeah, I don't see the soft landing. Yeah, in fact, I looked out the plane window. I think I saw the landing gear.
I know, right?
Like,
I'm looking.
Stay on the runway.
Hey,
when we
look,
took
if you're
off.
smart, you're looking for a parachute right now. You're looking for somebody that's got a parachute, somebody you can grab onto and hold on tight, because you're going to need to be prepared for max pain.
Bitcoin doesn't care? Question mark. It doesn't. But the people who buy and sell it do. And unfortunately, they control the price, not Satoshi anymore. All right. Don't blame the concept of unions on the corrupt actions of a few. I don't. That's why I said I am pro-union. But there is the saying about, the bad apple there. All right. Crypto verse. No, not Benjamin Cowan. Ether snaps. No, not like, a dance battle here. At Bitcoin's heels. No, not like its feet. In a race for crypto crown. No, not like Tom. All right. So ETH, we checked about the dominance, 18 or 19.8, really close to 20. Bitcoin's dominance has slipped to 39, but it has recently gone up as the alts have taken a dump. It is now 40.2, as we just saw, but still down from the year's peak of 47.5 in mid-June, and this is according to CoinMarketCap. Ether, on the other hand, has climbed to 20.5 from 16%. Now it has fallen to about 19.8. Ether, fun fact, that's what you call Ethereum when you speak of the coin only. I'm so sick of people saying you don't know the difference between Ether and Ethereum. There's a permanence. We just say Ethereum because it's easier. Yeah. That's all. All right. There's a permanency to how Ethereum is perceived in the crypto ecosystem. Ethereum forms the backbone of much of the Web3 vision of an internet where crypto takes central stage, powering applications involving crypto offshoots such as decentralized finance and non-fungible tokens, although this much-hyped dream is still unrealized with the S. This is from our across the pond people here. Some markets players say Bitcoin's grip on the crypto crown is still strong, even if it has to accept other contenders. For example, the CEO of K2 Trading Partners said its dominance could improve to the 50 to 60% range if the crypto market turns bullish, but is unlikely to touch 70% again. I don't think we'll hit the 70% again. I don't know if 60% is in range. I think stable coins are going to take a higher and higher percentage as we move forward. And I think that is going to be a 20-year macro trend of stable coins increasing their market, their dominance in the crypto sector.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It's going to be interesting. I would have put like 55 was about my, between 50 and 60. I feel like that was a pretty safe range. What I would have said going into this bear market, traditionally we've seen, like the article said, it goes as high as 70 plus. But looking at it right now, I mean, you're right. With the variety of stablecoin options, like even if you're just looking at CoinMarketCap, between Tether, USDC, and BUSD is what you've got in Ethereum 194. So yeah, I see people being more in stablecoins, which in years past with less stablecoins, that would have all been Bitcoin. So I think that trend could have been broken at this point. And looking at CoinMarketCap, we see Ethereum is approaching approximately 50% of the market cap of Bitcoin. Bitcoin at 400 billion, Ethereum pushing 200 billion right now. So it's getting closer and closer. But, Ethereum's inching up on Bitcoin, as that article mentioned, and more into stable coins as time goes on.
All right, let us know in the chat. Next bull run, will Ethereum, for even if it's 1 second, will Ethereum's market cap eclipse Bitcoin's? Put Y or N, yes or no, in the chat. We want to know where the BitSquad's landing on this. DZ, I am landing towards not next one, the one after. I don't know. That's my guess, man. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard because Lightning Network, the Bitcoin maxis are going to keep, trumpeting their own horn, and they're going to point to other things. All right. Nose have it. All right, we got ourselves. Nose leaning towards the nose.
I'll throw a poll in there too. Yeah, it does.
Okay. All right. Maybe. Traders shorting Ethereum ahead of the merge. ETH funding rates are now negative. ETH merge is seeing heavy activity in the market with many traders shorting it. Among the trading activity taking place is the fact that there's bearish sentiment as seen in the derivatives market. The funding rates of perpetual futures contracts of ETH has fallen to its lowest since July of 21. So this is the most God, something about fading retail. That's when things turned around. It was really dumping in June and July of last year. I remember talking about it like, oh man, this is, I think we went down to 28.5 in July. And then what happened? It started to, basically it flipped all the way till the first week of November. So funding rates went negative at the perfect time to turn positive in 21. Little hopium there, little hopium for the people there. All right, if we scroll down, there is no reason to think that the price expectation of short-term traders are indications of future price, except for the scenario I just laid out, author. These traders look to make their money in the short term, so the overall sentiment of Ethereum from the community at large is much more significant. What is more significant to the price of Ethereum? Is it future traders or the overall sentiment of the community? That's a tough question. I don't know. I think they both have a lot of weight, so I don't think there's one right answer. I think it depends on time of year. Like, are the traders really heavy? I think traders can maybe have more weight. Is things boring and we're trading sideways in the community, or is Vitalik, really, is there a big community event happening? Then the community can have more power. But yeah, the no's. I think no's are having it. What did DZ at is what market cap can ETH surpass Bitcoin? It's in the poll. Looks like no's winning 53% to 47%. A lot closer. Already in the hundreds. Hey, I appreciate that. Show your appreciation for the channel by hitting that like button. I think you hitting the like makes Bitcoin go up, because every time I see the like spike, Bitcoin's price spikes on the 30-second chart. Is it you? Is it magic? I don't know, but there's only one way to find out if it's going to work. Let's hit the like button. All right, Fidelity, the shift. They're going to retail customers into crypto soon. And this is from Mike Novogratz. He's the Galaxy CEO. $4.2 trillion asset manager, Fidelity Investments, is reportedly working towards offering Bitcoin trading services to its 34 million retail investor base, according to Galaxy Digital Mike Novogratz and people familiar with the matter. I think that guy's a little more careful these days after he took that L on Terra. So I'm leaning towards he's not just saying this willy-nilly. Novogratz isn't the only person to have signaled this move. Wall Street Journal also noted that they're currently weighing a plan to allow people to trade Bitcoin. So Novogratz saying it, Wall Street Journal saying it. I'm feeling pretty good about this happening. It's a multinational finance corporation that provides brokerage services. This is for the boring investors. And now the boring investors, they want to get a little life. They want to feel a little juice. They want to get some gains. They want to make more than 4% a year. And so they got it. They have to offer this because they're forced to. Why? Their competitors are going to. And you always see this in big markets. Number one, BlackRock. When you see a big update to an industry, maybe update's not the right word, but it's not going to be the number one player. It's always going to be like the number two, the number three, the number five. Those are the people going to take the innovations. So Fidelity making this move is bullish. It's going to increase the odds that we'll see something from BlackRock. BlackRock, they're a lot bigger. They're not going to move as fast. But if BlackRock gets into it, Fidelity gets into it, then, whoo, man, that's when 320 doesn't look that ridiculous. I still don't think we hit 320 next bull run. I think we barely go above 100. But if BlackRock starts buying Bitcoin, that's when we start going 170, 180. But
Look, it's easy to forget. I mean, and we had a little bit of a move today, but when things have been slow and boring and sideways for a long time, it's easy to forget how fast Bitcoin can move. I don't know if you guys remember how quick we went from 20K to 40K last time, and that's a lot of money to come into the market, but it can happen. It can happen really fast. We can go from 20K to 40K, 40K back up to 60K. And then if we break previous all-time highs at 69K, the move beyond that, like once we get above 70 to 140, can happen just as quick. I mean, It's a lot more money, but there's a lot more money out there that can make things happen really fast. Don't forget.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting when Bitcoin, not when it first hits 100, but when it goes above 100, hangs out there for a bit, to see the psychological effect of 100K, because that's going to be a heavily traded area, just like 20K, just like 50K, and kind of like 69K. That's because now that's the new top, so that's going to be a very, very high volume node. All right, tokenized assets may make up 10% of global GDP by 2030. Meanwhile, DZ's portfolio will be 99% tokenized assets. All right, tokenized assets are expected to expand into the U.S. $16 trillion business opportunity by 2030, making up 10% of global GDP by the end of the decade, from U.S. $310 billion this year. So from $310 billion to $16 trillion, looking at about a 50x right there. This is according to a new report by global consulting firm BCG and the Digital Exchange for Private Markets. Can you imagine crypto market cap doing a 50x? Now, that doesn't mean the coins existing today would 50x, because there'll be new coins, new offerings, new stable coins printed out of thin air, kind of. It's backed by paper, but what is that printed out of? That's printed out of thin air. So yeah, your coin, not every coin is going to 50x, but some are going to 500x and plenty are going to 50x, and I'm here for it. All right, the BCG ADDX report lists 5 indications that tokenization may be on the cusp of widespread adoption. They are trading volume in tokenized assets, strengthening stakeholder sentiment across many countries, recognition amongst monetary authorities and regulators, more asset classes being tokenized, that's the major one right there, and a growing pool of active developer talent in the blockchain space. That's another one too, but that's more of a wild card. You know, can the next Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos open something on the blockchain versus Web 2? As we move forward in time, the odds increase that the next Mark Zuckerberg, the next Steve Jobs, the next Sergey and Aaron are going to do some on Web 3 versus Web 2. I don't think we're quite there yet, but we're getting to that point. The first savant, Nakamoto. The second, I would say Vitalik. All right. Just why did I read that last YouTube comment? It's not even negative. All right. Just wondering if someone even knows his own name. I sometimes wonder, does he even know what room he's in? Why even say that? All right. Why?
You just can't resist.
I don't vote. I haven't voted. All right, I didn't vote last time, but I've voted the same party my entire life, and it's not the person I just criticized, to be fair. So I was pushed this direction. All right, why Rockstar co-founder Dan Houser took stake in this blockchain game studio? I would assume it's he expects to sell it for more than what he bought it. All right, co-founder and one of the masterminds behind popular titles such as Grand Theft Auto, Dan Houser participated in a $13 million funding round for blockchain game studio Revolving Games. Houser will be working as an advisor to the company following his investment. Not many advisors better than the guy. Yeah, you know, what's your track record? Just Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Well, oh, yeah. You're in.
You're in. We want you.
Yeah. We got you. All right. In fact, we'll pay you.
Yeah.
All right. In addition to the Rockstar Games co-founder, Revolving Games' latest funds were led by, let's see, Dapper Labs, Pantera Capital, Animoca Brands,
Wow.
Polygon again, Kinetic, and others, as seen in the image below. God, there's so many strong L1s and L2s in this ecosystem. I got a lot of things I got to start. I got to start. You know, I always say, like, yeah, don't have too many coins in your portfolio. I'm gonna have too many coins this bear market.
Yeah.
I can already see it. You know, I'm already gonna call it. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to take a magnifying glass to some of the older ones, and because there's some new exciting coins. They're really getting my heart racing, and I'm not expecting 100x. But you get in enough of them, I'd be surprised if it doesn't happen with, you know, if you're in 20 really, really strong plays, you have a lot of conviction in, and you did happen to catch that bottom. I'm not saying my entry point will be 100x, but coins that will do 100x. I want some. I want some. I need some. Do you want some? Hit that like button. It will increase the odds. How does that work? I don't know. It just will.
Yeah.
All right. A bright future for blockchain game studios? I'd say so. Over the coming years, they will use the funds to develop their own titles and titles with well-known franchises. At the time of writing, the game studio is working on a game inspired by, Battlestar Galactica, and a second one called Skyborn Legacy. Animal Crossing meets Legend of Zelda meets Jason Bourne. Oh my God, that's going to be so good. I can't wait.
So that Battlestar Galactica combination, if you scroll up, go back to that little graphic. Did it have Gala? Yeah, Gala's right there too as a partner. Gala Games.
Ooh, Gala.
And
I'm surprised they didn't list Gala. That's a big name
too, because that's so Animoca Brands. Obviously, that's huge. Pantera, massive. Dapper Labs, all of those partners, huge. I do know from our time at Galaverse that Battlestar Galactica IP is through Gala Games, and that's where that game. So they're probably doing that all in collaboration.
Yeah, and
together.
if you know much about the video game publishing world, there'd be a lot of entities attached to a game.
Yes.
Like Halo's made by Microsoft is like made by Bungie, or Banjo-Kazooie and GoldenEye wasn't made by Nintendo. It was made by Rare. The Nintendo contracted after Rare. So yeah, I mean, I'm bullish on Gala navigating that system.
Yeah.
So,
and that's what they're doing, is partnering with game studios. So this is an interesting development to keep an eye on. That game could be the beginning of some major AAA games coming to the blockchain gaming industry. So that's good.
I would agree. All right, Metaverse, not Zuck. Web3 games are doing better than you think. Web3 games and Metaverse projects have raised $748 million since August 1st.
Dang.
Holy crap. In August, 847,000 unique active wallets per day on average participated in games, which is a decrease in July. That's more in lines with the figures I expected, but almost $1 billion poured into the space in the past month and a week or two. So a month and a half, not even a month and a half here. Man, in 21, $4 billion was invested in blockchain gaming overall. By the end of this year, it's anticipated that the amount is going to jump to $10 billion if the current pace continues. Bullish. Here they, similar increases are seen in Solana. Solana's, despite its issues, good for gaming here. Report concluded that blockchain games and metaverse projects appear to be weathering the winter far better than industry categories. According to DappRadar's, we think gaming is going to be key. This is kind of our thesis. One of the better plays for the bear market is going to be gaming. We were saying that a year ago, and it looks like our thesis is proving correct. I know it's still early in the bear market, but for now, gamers going to game. And that's just all there is to it. It's just like there are certain industries during a recession that are semi-foolproof. People still need an oil change. They might delay it a little bit more. People still need to buy milk. People still need to, do their tax, on April 5th. They got to do their taxes. There's certain industries where economy tanks, they're still going to be okay. It'll go down just like everybody else, but they're not going to crater. Gamers going to game, man. I don't think video games are going to crater like some other riskier assets. People love video games. All right. Doodles. This is actually huge news. I was thinking about maybe doing a little update on this. Doodles announces $54 million raise, plots hiring spree. Little background. I'll see if the article mentions some of it. NFT maker Doodles announced over a $50 million raise at a $700 million valuation, led by Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian, venture capital firm 776. The news came amid growing concern about the collection's sudden lack of activity on Twitter. This is what I was going to get to. The funding announcement was the first post on its official account since it's retweeted a video on July 29th. NFT Twitter was just dragging them through the mud. Guys, you haven't, tweeted in a month. Look at the team. Is this a rug? Slow rug confirmed? Are the devs, are they going to do something? Are they even around? Do they just take the money and run? They were quiet. They didn't say anything. They didn't, try to combat the FUD. Why? They're just busy raising $50 million. So, this is according to Taco. After that tweet, the price jumped 2.5 ETH in seconds. So
one tweet. I just say quality over quantity, I guess.
I said, you know what? Someone's going to do some math. Some blockchain detective, I don't know, like a Kobe or something. Someone's going to see who delisted in the last 24 hours, who had inside knowledge that this was going to be tweeted out, because you see him delist and then relist for like an ETH higher, 2 ETH higher. That's going to be interesting to see. Or who delisted and then immediately set at floor like seconds after this tweet. They probably knew. Maybe nobody. All right. The hiring spree bucks the trend, that comment. Seen throughout much of the crypto industry in recent months. Since the downturn, several major companies have announced layoffs, including OpenSea, Coinbase, and Gemini here. So, yeah, the games are going to outperform, largely speaking. And good IP, I put there with video games because there's going to be so many opportunities, and venture capital money is going to see that. You're going to show up to the meeting. They're kind of, I don't want to say out of touch, but maybe they're not in the culture like you are watching at home. They're not watching crypto YouTube. They just kind of know like blockchain is a buzzword that sounds good at a meeting. Someone's going to go up to them and they're going to show them a picture of a Bored Ape, and they're going to say, Bored Ape, Cartoon Network, and then they're going to say, son of a gun, I'm in.
Yeah.
And that's the extent of their knowledge. So it's just an easy sell to venture capital. And if you got a strong IP, I would consider Doodles. After $700 million, that's a strong IP. All right, Bored Ape NFT Metaverse band taps Beyonce and Bruno Mars as producers. That is, I'd say pretty big news from a little small guy.
Does it tap them as producers, or their producers are tapped for this project?
Band taps? No. Bruno Mars, because there's no apostrophe here.
Yeah.
Just recruited massive hit makers in the form of Hit Boy. They stole the punctuation from us. Good catch there. All right. UMG announced today that virtual metaverse band Kingship, which features characters based on the Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT artwork, has tapped a pair of very real music producers. They've done hits for Beyonce, Jay-Z, and Bruno Mars. Chauncey Hit Boy Hollis, James Fauntleroy. I wonder if they have some of their songs here. Okay, it looks like maybe they also did Gorillaz. All right. A recent Kingship teaser video released in August to market promotion with Eminem's candy brand offered the first taste of their musical contributions to the project. In July, they released their own NFT project, launching 5,000 Ethereum key cards that provide special access to exclusive content and token-gated future experiences. Also did Justin Timberlake there, Kanye West, Rihanna, Ariana Grande. Okay, good. All right, so they don't got their songs, but they got their artist list there, and it's big names coming in. And
yeah, that's a real resume right there, and it'll be interesting as this space develops. We saw what Snoop and Eminem did at the VMAs with their apes, right? Like putting it into a music video and a song. Yep. Like you mentioned Gorillaz just a second ago. For people who remember when they were popular, that was kind of the first. I wouldn't say the first, but an early iteration of a digital identity becoming a real marketable IP. You know, they were a band. They were all animated, basically. We're going to start to see that now with animated AI metaverse influencers that aren't actually real people. They're characters. This is the beginning of that space. It's going to develop a lot over time. And it's going to be what probably... somebody said it in the chat here just a second ago in the basement, that entertainment thrives in economic downtrends. So whether it's people watching games, whether it's people going to concerts, hanging out online with their friends, we're going to start to see it more and more in digital spaces, and IP like this putting more and more effort into insane digital experiences.
Yeah, and it's a positive feedback loop because more people do it. There's more successes, which make more people do it, which creates more successes, and it just kind of spirals out of control. And shout out to... I would say Bored and Hungry, probably doing it the best on a grassroots level.
Sure.
They're doing a really good job. But then, of course, just all the, I would say on a corporate level, just everything that Polygon is doing is just absolutely insane because they teamed up with Disney. And so I imagine there's going to be some sort of content creation aspect. So I would say maybe Disney's the real winner there.
Disney's, they've got, I saw something the other day with this AR artwork that they've got coming out where, you're going to start to see it coming out of TVs and stuff like that. The way people are going to be able to engage with content over the next 10 years is going to be pretty epic.
Yeah. All right. XRP time, baby. Are you ready? Raul Paul, XRP Ledger will be at the center of the world's move to CBDCs. That is pretty strong words from Raul Paul here. And this is, just not some nobody. This is a former Goldman Sachs executive. And explained why he is bullish on the XRP and XRPL. It was created in 2012 by Schwartz, McCaleb, and Brito. And XRP, of course, native currency of the XRPL. The main app of the ledger are payments. Using the ledger, assets can be moved across the world, enabling near instant money transfers for remittances, treasury payments, payrolls, and other cross-border payments. In a blog published on that day, DEA started talking about Ripple's experience with central bank digital currencies, CBDC. DEA, not the Drug Enforcement Agency, no, the Digital Euro Association, think tank specializing in CBDCs. And Ripple, one of the leading providers of enterprise blockchain and crypto solutions, has recently developed a blockchain-based infrastructure and is engaged with Bhutan's central bank, amongst others, to help execute their pilot. Also a member of Digital Pound Foundation and continues to extend its efforts around CBDCs worldwide. According to a report from the Daily Hodl, this is what Real Vision CEO had to say about the ledger. There's this weird narrative from the past about Ripple. I would agree with that. The point being, even if they have to settle a lawsuit, get a slap on the wrist, Ripple actually plays quite an important role. It's a money transmission network, and it does quite a good job at it. It has deep connections with global governments and has worked really hard on those. So, yeah, bullish on Ripple. I would agree with his assessment. They are spending time being the enterprise blockchain. Separate your feelings from that. Just kind of look at it what it is logically. It's not a bad thing. It's going to be needed. It's going to happen. And honestly, I'd rather it be XRP than a government. That's just my 2 cents here. Quick hit. I don't know if we have any Q&A queued up, but
I just asked them. So go ahead and hit some quick hits.
Cardano Foundation celebrates its first anniversary of the Alonzo hard fork just only a year ago here. And it's also real close to anniversary for the Claymates and another big project on there. So yeah, a lot of Pluto Alliance anniversary tomorrow. Hey, shout out to Pluto Alliance one more time. You can go to OpenSea, type in Pluto Alliance. I'll find you. But I'm getting excited for that cruise. Can we talk about how centralized ETH is? The main issue there is ETH is super centralized with MetaMask. That's a even bigger story than.
Yeah, I mean, in the other attack vector, a lot of people say a lot of the nodes are on AWS, and I mean, and you got, you're talking about the centralization of the internet as a whole, right? And Ethereum, by its design, is trying to decentralize the internet more than almost anything else. I understand Bitcoin designed to decentralize money. It is a lot more decentralized than Ethereum, but also has its own points of centralization that you could poke at. Not saying it's not more decentralized, but I mean, I think the conversation of decentralization versus centralization, very complex. And in my opinion, you always need to be striving for less centralization, knowing that some is required to get things started, to move things along. So yes, Ethereum is centralized through things like MetaMask being a #1 provider, through things like nodes being on AWS, JP Morgan having a big hold of consensus. The development, you could argue development through Blockstream is a big issue with the Bitcoin development. So,
Yep.
There's a lot of attack vectors on it. My opinion is all of these things are less centralized than what we have, the current financial system, the current internet system. And
it's
they're
the better
all,
of two evils.
Exactly.
It's a lot of what life is.
It's pushing us forward is what it's doing. Like, will Ethereum be what we're using 100 years from now? Who knows? But what we're using 100 years from now is going to look more like Ethereum than it does the internet of 10 years ago. So we just need to be looking at this as progress, not an end product.
And not going to go over the article here, but just another quick hit. Brother of the Coinbase employee pled guilty to the insider trading charges there. So the brother pled guilty. So that story is developing, but it looks like the Coinbase employee himself, maybe looks like they got maybe a separate court system going on there. But the brother, he pled guilty. So where there's smoke, there's fire there. All right.
Question for you, DZ. Do you have any thoughts on Citadel and Schwab creating their own crypto exchange?
I mean, I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate anything with Klaus. Not a fan of anything that guy touches. I hated that he took like Noel Harari. He's like grabbing all these intellectuals too. I wasn't the biggest Malcolm Gladwell fan. I used to be, more so like 10 years ago. But yeah, I hate that Schwab guy. I hate him. But product is king. Let's just hope that they can't be, some of our native people's products out there. Will big money like it? Sure. Will it, will they be talking about it at Davos, Switzerland or Davos, Switzerland? Probably. Does that mean it's probably bullish for the price for the people that got in early? I don't think they'll have any kind of fair distribution if there is any kind of tokenization, but hate it.
Okay, we got Ethereum merge coming up here in a couple of days. We were chatting earlier in the show in the basement. They were asking what I think about it, but I want to hear from you. Day of, do you think we're going to see a pump, or you think this is kind of a buy the rumor kind of situation? There you go. 1 day, 11 hours.
Yeah, here, let me shrink it a little so maybe you can see. Someone on the show, I think it was ATB, said the market is priced in that it works. So if it does work, don't expect too much action to the top. My counter to that is the previous major ETH upgrade that we had was, I don't know, 6 months ago or something like that, or maybe close to a year at this point. And they had the record daily green candles. And it was when I think it was, one of the forks related to this merge, not forks, but one of the updates related to this merge went off well. Everything was successful. And then record daily candles there. So it's really just hard to tell. I'm staying away. People are saying I was like trying to push people into trading the last minutes of a candle. I don't push. Not something I'm recommending. I don't recommend trading right around this event. But I would say if I had some ETH on an exchange, I'd definitely put it in my own wallet, because who knows what that forked Ethereum is going to do. I think it goes to zero eventually, but there might be 48 hours of just mania, and maybe you can stack some sats off of that.
Could be. And I think I tend to agree. I was thinking about this morning driving in. It kind of reminds me of a Bitcoin halving event, right? Where you're waiting on it for so long. Everybody's thinking about it. Everybody's talking about it. It is probably, like you said, priced in that it's going to work. That's why we've seen the positive movements up until this point. Then the day of happens, the update goes through, and it's just kind of like, nothing really happens. So I tend to think it's either we'll have flat days or, down days not long after the pump. I don't see us, there's a lot of people calling for us pumping straight to 2000. In my opinion, I don't see that happening. It's possible,
I don't see it either.
Yeah.
Too many people are saying it.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of similar to halvings. You see a price pump go into it, day of happens, nothing really happens, a few months goes by, and then you start getting action after that as the update starts to actually take hold. I tend to think this will be something similar.
What CNFT are we minting this month? JPEG Junkies, for sure. Lunatics. Give a shout out to Lunatics. They look pretty cool. I like them. It's like a Bugs Bunny or the Daffy Duck style.
All right. That's all we have time for.
That's all we got. All right. Catch me 5 p.m. Make sure you stick around. Make sure you have notifications on. Make sure you're hitting that like button if you haven't already. Follow. Shout out to Crypto Lifer. Great content. Frankie Candles, Meta Money, NFT Alpha. Until next time, BitSquad. Easy out. Be easy.